soft melodies, whispered words, and timeless tales. Welcome to Literature Lullabies, where stories embrace your soul and dreams take flight. Good evening, dear listener. You've arrived at a haven of words where the gentle rhythm of literature guides you into a world of wonder and serenity. Whether you seek solace in poetry, adventure in prose, or wisdom in whispers, you are in the right place. Here, each story is a lullaby, woven with care, spoken with warmth, and designed to soothe your spirit. Let the words flow like a gentle stream, easing the noise of the day and inviting tranquility into your heart. So, find your cozy corner, close your eyes if you wish, and let the magic of literature cradle you into calmness. Welcome to Literature Lullabies, where every word is a whisper and every whisper is a dream. Tonight we dive into the realm of satire, where words cut like swords and poetry becomes a battlefield. Welcome to this special edition of Literature Lullabies, where we unravel the genius of John Dryden's MacFlecknoe, a poem that stands as one of the greatest satirical works in English literature. Before we begin, let's transport ourselves to 17th century England, a time of literary rivalries, shifting political landscapes, and poets who wielded their pens with the sharpness of daggers. This was the age of Dryden, a poet laureate and master of satire, who turned literary criticism into an art form. Tonight, we explore MacFlecknoe, not just as a poem, but as a brilliant satire, a political statement, and a literary critique that echoes through the ages. To truly appreciate MacFlecknoe, we must first understand the rivalry that fueled its creation. John Dryden was the undisputed poetic genius of his time. However, one of his contemporaries, Thomas Shadwell, sought to challenge his literary dominance. Shadwell believed himself to be the rightful heir to Ben Jonson's legacy, but Dryden saw him as nothing more than a poet of mediocrity. Thus, MacFlecknoe was born, a poem in which Dryden mercilessly mocks Shadwell, painting him as the successor of Richard Flecknoe, a forgotten poet of uninspired verse. This poem is not merely an insult, it is a mock heroic masterpiece that uses grand, epic-style language to describe something utterly trivial, Shadwell's lack of talent. Now, let's step into the world of MacFlecknoe and analyze its themes, structure, and artistic brilliance. Dryden adopts a mock-heroic tone in MacFlecknoe. What does this mean? A mock-heroic poem imitates the grandeur of epic poetry, but applies it to trivial subjects, creating irony and humor. In epics like the Iliad or Paradise Lost, kings and warriors are chosen for greatness. In MacFlecknoe, Shadwell is crowned as the king, not of greatness, but of dullness. All human things are subject to decay, and when fate summons, monarchs must obey. These opening lines sound grand and serious, almost Shakespearean. But soon, we realize Dryden is not talking about a noble king, but about a poet whose legacy is nonsense. Shadwell is portrayed as the ideal heir to the kingdom of dull poetry. Dryden exaggerates his lack of intelligence and poetic ability, making it seem as though he is divinely ordained to write meaningless verse. Shadwell alone my perfect image bears, mature in dullness from his tender years. Here, Dryden humorously suggests that Shadwell has been dull since birth, as if poetic incompetence were a divine gift. This is Dryden's wit at its finest. He does not simply say that Shadwell is a bad poet. He paints a vivid picture of his dullness, making the insult far more powerful. Dryden masterfully uses imagery to depict a world of nonsense, where Shadwell rules over mediocrity. The throne. Shadwell is crowned in a land of dullness, the city of Augusta, a decayed literary kingdom symbolizing bad poetry. The floating garbage, representing the lack of originality in Shadwell's works. Through the long, lazy, floating fields of dung, the filthy, decaying imagery shows how Dryden views Shadwell's poetry as nothing more than literary waste. More than 300 years later, MacFlecknoe remains a masterpiece of satire. But why? It set the standard for satire. Dryden's wit and poetic skill make this poem a model for later satirists, including Alexander Pope, the Dunciad. It shows the power of words. Dryden's satire destroyed Shadwell's literary reputation. It reminds us that in literature, talent is undeniable and mediocrity cannot last. It's hilarious. Even today, the sarcasm and humor in MacFlecknoe make it a joy to read. And so, dear listener, as we leave the land of nonsense and satire, let us take one lesson from Dryden's MacFlecknoe. True greatness cannot be claimed. It must be earned. Tonight, we explored how Dryden used poetry as a weapon, turning literary criticism into an art form. His words remind us that while mediocrity may thrive for a while, it will never stand the test of time. Thank you for joining us on this journey through wit, humor, and poetic brilliance. This has been Literature Lullabies, where every word is a whisper, and every whisper is a dream. Good night, and may your dreams be filled with great poetry.